Well, hello and welcome to Light Buckets and the Light Buckets Observatory. You're looking at LB0001, which is our 0.61 meter RC Optical Systems Ritchey-Chretien. And today I'm going to step you through how to clean the optics on the telescope, or at least the steps that I use. There's plenty of opinions on how to best do this, but these are my steps. I'll take you through the materials that I use, and then the process itself, and at the end we should wind up with some very clean optics. Right now we're looking at some very dirty optics. They haven't been cleaned in about a year's time. You can see I've got the power and communications cables disconnected, the USB cables disconnected from the setup. If you don't know much about this scope, it's a 0.61 meter Ritchey-Chretien design, again from RC Optical Systems. We use an Apogee U42 camera with a 9-position filter wheel with LRGB HA-S203 photometric V and a photometric I filter. For guiding, we use an Astrodon Mega Moog off-axis guider with an ST402 from Santa Barbara Instruments. You'll see the big red device there is the instrument rotator, and back here we've got a nice rack system with all of our components, power supplies, observatory PC, the power management that's Ethernet based. And then up here you can see is our EL panel, our electroluminescent panel for doing dome flats. So that's pretty much the system. The mount is an RC Optical Systems equatorial fork mount, and I've just spent quite a few hours going through the entire observatory, cleaning the floor, cleaning the mount, cleaning the telescope, just getting everything spick and span, just to remove as much dust out of here as possible. And being that it's an observatory and it's got this big open hole in the roof that we like to keep open at night, weather permitting, dust does get in here, and so it does require some cleaning, and do what you can to keep the dust down. We use some special shutters here. They're or louvers with some screens on them. If you can see them from the outside, you can get a better view of what they do. Basically, they allow airflow into the observatory and allow it to get to ambient temperature more quickly, and they're designed for extreme environments, so wind and water are really cut down coming through there. For our windy season, we're going to cover these up with some plexiglass, which should keep the dust down a little bit more during the upcoming windy season, which will be March, April timeframe. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to use to clean the telescope, and we'll move forward from there. Okay, let's talk about the materials that I use to clean the optics on the telescopes that we have here at Light Buckets. Generally speaking, I'll use some of these. I won't use them all, especially some of them if I can avoid it. There's some stronger cleaners that I'll show you here in just a moment that I tend to try not to use if at all possible. But let me just take you through everything that I have here for the cleaning operation. First of all, this here is a CO2 tank, a carbon dioxide tank. This is a normal tank that you can get at a welder store, and attached to it we have a snow gun. It's got a high pressure line that's attached to it, and when it's set up it will shoot CO2 snow out of it, which we'll use to clean the large particulate matter off of the primary mirror. Now, this is a typical kind of tank that you'll find at a welding supply store. Typically for a snow gun, you'd want to use a siphon tank, which would have a tube that goes to the bottom of the tank to draw the liquid CO2 out. For a normal tank, we can either flip the tank upside down or maybe even lay it on its side to get the liquid CO2 instead of the gas. And so we'll do that when we go to clean the mirror. Keep a good supply of latex-free vinyl gloves on hand, just to keep fingerprints and other smudges out of the way. For cleaning the mirror, this is what I tend to try to use, if at all possible, is some distilled water, just some regular distilled water that you can get at the grocery store. Now, a lot of guys will say to use medical grade distilled water. I think this is probably good enough. I've used it on mirrors for 3 or 4 years now without any issues whatsoever. I keep some denatured alcohol around just in case I need something that I got a tough spot and I need something that will evaporate quickly. I use some denatured alcohol on it because it does not leave a residue, but it will take away particulate matter and works as a bit of a solvent. The primary thing I use for the cleaning of the mirror is some distilled water and some soap. Now, a number of folks will say to use just a few drops of Dawn dish soap, and that does work quite well. Dawn's really good at breaking up grease, as the commercials say, and it's true. It works really nicely on mirrors. For the last few years, though, I've been using what's called quilt soap, and I guess it's soap that's used to clean fabrics that are, very sensitive, I guess, to washing. And so we use quilt soap, and it seems to work extremely well. You can see when I shake this up, you see the soap, I think. Well, who knows what you can see on the video here. But quilt soap and distilled water is what I like to use to clean the mirror. And you'll see how that gets used here in just a minute. Again, just regular old distilled water. Now, these are the cleaning solutions that I mentioned that are a little stronger. I got these from the Astrophysics website. One is called Optical Wonder. It's a little less strong than the Purosol. So for extremely stubborn stuff, the Purosol can be used. So let's say you had bird droppings on your mirror or something like that. Give the Purosol a try. Any other relatively stubborn issues, you can try the Optical Wonder. So these are just a little stronger solutions for cleaning the mirrors. Now, for the last few years, I've been using these Kim wipes, which are medical grade wipers, I guess, that you find in a hospital from Kimberly-Clark. I bought a whole crate of them, and they work really well. They don't leave too much fibers around or little pieces of lint. They're pretty clean, so I like to use those. Now this year, we're going to try something a little bit different. I invested in these natural sea sponges, and a lot of folks have said that these are really good to use for cleaning mirrors. And again, when you're cleaning a mirror, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes, you don't want to ever wipe the mirror. You always want to dab it. And so these are supposed to work really well, pick up a lot of material and water. Hopefully not too much material by the time you get to the sponge stage is left on the mirror. Hopefully it's just water or soap. But these are supposed to work really well and have a lot of absorbency. Now, the thing you have to be very careful of with sponges, and that was just a little piece of sponge, is that with a sea sponge, they could have sand stuck in them, which obviously wouldn't be very good to have a nice fat piece of sand go across your mirror surface. So I spent quite a bit of time soaking these, wringing them out, drying them, soaking them again, just to be extra sure. I mean, they wash them when they cultivate them, I assume, but just something to keep in mind if you do decide to go with the sea sponge route. Be very, very careful about them. If you haven't washed them, give them a good rinsing or two, just to make sure you get any sand that could possibly be in them out. And, go over them with your hand too, just to see if you feel anything. Shake them out a little bit so that you have a level of confidence with them. Towels, we're going to clean the mirror on the 24RC in place. Since it's such a heavy mirror, I don't want to try to lift that out of here and clean it, so we'll leave it in place. These will basically just go on the inside of the shroud around the mirror, just to catch all the water that's going to run off, because we will put quite a bit of water on that mirror to get it nice and clean. And we'll probably do that 2 or 3 times with a wipe down or wash down, soap, rinse, spray it down again, soap it, rinse. Do that a few times just to get everything possible off of the mirror. Paper towels, we won't use these generally. Those are just in case. And compressed air cans, I wouldn't use them generally. So especially since we use CO2 snow gun here, this is really not needed, and they're not the best idea on the planet, because if you're not careful with them, they can spray out some liquid CO2, which can leave some spots behind. So if you do want to use them, shake the can really well before you spray it on any kind of surface. Give the can a few sprays. I haven't opened this, so I won't spray it. But give the can a few sprays just to get any of the liquid that might be in the draw tube out, and then you'll pretty much be firing with just air. So just something to be aware of. So those are the materials that we use to clean the mirror. Oh, and of course the ladder to climb up in there, because with this scope we will be climbing up between the trusses to get at the mirror. So let's go ahead and start positioning things and get at it. One quick comment before we do go on to positioning the telescope for cleaning is take the camera off. So I'm going to remove the camera, because now's a good time to clean the filters in the filter wheel. I've got a little magnifying system, so I can clean the CCD chamber, the glass that sits in front of the CCD chamber. Generally, I would suggest you send the camera back to the manufacturer for cleaning. Apogee takes just a few days to get your camera all cleaned up. They'll refresh the gas in the CCD chamber. If you haven't sent your camera back into Apogee in a while, they're using a new gas. I can't remember. They went from argon to xenon or something like that, but it's supposed to allow the camera to cool more effectively. This one has the D9F cooling on it that allows it to cool to -65 degrees below ambient, so it's not much of an issue with us, but it does have the new gas in the chamber anyway. But take the cameras off, all that out of the way, and now's a good time to clean that. So I won't bore you with taking those off, but I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll get the instruments all situated for cleaning. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, I've got the telescope positioned with the mirror, the primary mirror, pitched down, just to allow water to run off easily, and make sure that nothing falls back behind the primary mirror. I wanted to mention, if you are cleaning a smaller Ritchey-Chretien, it is easier up to maybe a 16-inch. I've certainly done a 14.5 without problem. To just take the mirror out and give it a nice soak. There's a thermistor on the back of the mirror that you're going to have to take off and protect. That just measures the primary mirror temperature. But other than that, it's fairly easy and straightforward to pull the mirror out, give it a bath in some distilled water, then some soapy water, lift it up and down a little bit to let the water pressure kind of move across the surface, rinse it, soap, rinse again, soap again, as many times as you feel comfortable. And then to take the water off, again, just dab it with the towels. Do not wipe, and you should wind up with a pretty clean mirror at the end of the day. There's the camera and the instrument adapter tubes that I took off. I laid the camera on its side so that nothing falls down inside. I could have laid it on its back and just covered it, but I didn't have a cover handy. I suppose I could have put some towels over it or something. So let's go up inside the mirror real quick and just take a quick look in here. I'm going to need to reposition this ladder, but you can see, hopefully you can see just how dirty this mirror is. It's quite dirty, and probably is going to need quite a few washing and rinsing cycles to get it cleaned off. But there doesn't look to be anything heavy, no large particles, bird droppings or mice or anything else. Hasn't seen her climb up in here, so that's a good sign. Again, I'll need to reposition this ladder so I can get up in between the trusses here, but looks like we're good to go. So let me climb down, get the CO2 tank ready, and reposition this ladder, and we'll take a look at using the CO2 snow gun for getting any of the large particulate matter off of the mirror. Okay, here we are at the CO2 snow gun. I am going to have to reposition the scope and the mirror, or the ladder. The mounting plates kind of get in the way, and I'm going to have to position the scope so it's pointing pretty much to the north, and that'll give me more clearance to get up in between the trusses. I'm losing a good 6 inches of space up in there, and that's primary real estate for getting in between the trusses. So I'll do some repositioning. The scope might not be pitched down quite as much as I would like, but it'll still be at least, the mirror will still at least be vertical, so it should be fine. One thing I did want to mention that I didn't: if you wear any jewelry, watches, rings, bracelets, whatever, take them off. Please make sure you get anything that could possibly come in contact with that mirror out of the way. You don't want necklaces, anything. You don't want anything that you might accidentally drop. So just keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead with the CO2 snow gun, then I'll reposition things, and we'll get started on cleaning the mirror. So I'm going to turn on the gas a little bit. You hopefully could hear that go. So we're cranking that up. Okay, I probably didn't need to open it full, but I'll go ahead and leave it open. I'm going to turn the tank on its side. I don't know if that's going to do it or not. We don't have a leak here. There we go. So I've got the tank on its side, and I'm just going to test the snow gun. Now I got this from Mike Rice at New Mexico Skies. He sells them for a few $100. I can't remember how much they are, but I've had it for a few years and it's performed well. Let me see what happens here. No, that's mostly gas. So we should be getting much more CO2 snow out of there. So I'm going to prop the tank up against the wall, and hopefully it doesn't fall over. Last time it did fall over and made a tremendous noise. Didn't crack any tiles, but scared the bejesus out of me. Okay, so I've got the tank tipped over. Let's see if we get better flow of the liquid CO2. There we go. That's what you want. The white snow. You can see some of the snow left behind. There it goes. So that's what we're looking for. Okay. So now I'm going to climb up in there. One thing you don't want to do when you're doing this up at the mirror, let me get this hose unwound so I don't accidentally pull over that tank. It won't hurt anything, but it will make a ruckus. Okay, let's keep it at least up right here. Let's see if that'll work. One thing you want to be very careful of with a CO2 snow gun is that you don't leave it on the mirror surface for too long. You just want short blasts of it on the mirror. It could cause thermal shock and crack your mirror if you get too crazy with it, especially if it's hot outside and you hit it with the cold CO2 snow. But we're probably at 45 or 50 degrees Fahrenheit right now, so it's probably okay. So let's climb up here, climb up the ladder. Be careful, make sure you got your hose in good shape. I'm going to reach through the trusses, and I'm going to go kind of at an angle And I might have to change sides here. I don't really want to hit it too straight on if I can avoid it. And I'm just going to start short blast on the mirror. Should only take a few seconds to get it done. Let me just, there we go. Should only take a few seconds and we'll see what we get. You might not see much of a change because this is really just going to take the big stuff off. So here we go. Yeah, it did that. Well, I don't know if you can see this, but it actually made a huge difference on the clarity of that mirror. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. I mean, it's almost like I don't even need to clean it now, but I will clean it because I'm sure it's very dirty. So the idea is that the CO2 snow binds with dirt and whatnot that might be on the mirror and take it away in a non-abrasive manner. And boy, hopefully you can see that before and after. It completely cleared up most of the dirt that I could see just from this far away on the mirror. It's pretty shocking actually. So let me just hit it a few more times and we'll be done. I don't know if you can see some of the CO2 snow left behind. It quickly evaporates. One other thing, you want to do this in a well-ventilated area too. I mean, I think this much CO2 gas isn't going to harm you, but probably don't want to be in a small room with a bunch of CO2 gas being released. And that's pretty much it. Again, I'm pretty happy with the results. I don't know that I've seen it clear the mirror quite so well in the past. So again, hopefully the camera captured that. All right, I'm going to sign off from here, this step and put everything away and get ready to clean the mirror with distilled water and some distilled water mixed with quilt soap. Okay, we're back. Let's actually climb up here. Now you can see I've repositioned the mirror so I can actually get up in between these trusses a little bit easier. And you're going to have to look at my face for a little bit in the mirror. Hopefully with the flashlight you can see, I'm not sure how well the camera does in low light, but hopefully you can see that there's still quite a mess on the mirror. Looks like we might have even gotten a sprinkle or two of rain on it. Either that or some dew. But that'll clean up. A few larger spots, but those should clean up just fine. While I was in here, I didn't record this, but there was a few dead bugs in here, right back behind the mirror. If you take the mirror out, you'll find them right away. But just while you're in here, clean up whatever you see laying around inside the shroud. Okay, so I'm going to put the flashlight away, and hopefully again the low light capability of this camera is good. I'm going to go ahead and put on some latex gloves just to keep anything off the mirror that I might need to. And then we will take our towels up into the mirror area and get down the thumb a little bit and lay those out, and we'll go from there. So let's pause while I get everything laid out up there, and I'll take the cleaning materials up as well, and we'll go from there. Okay, well, we've got everything prepped up there for our wash down and soaping and rinsing phase. So let's climb on up there and get to it. You'll see that I've hung the bottles off the trusses here at the mounting points. Don't hang them on the trusses. Probably shouldn't even hang them there, but it's okay. So the first step, again, oh, you also notice I turned on a big light that I use for photography to give us a little more illumination. Hopefully that helps with the video quality. And let me adjust the camera just a little bit. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is just spray the mirror with the distilled H2O, and then I will go back over it with the soap. Then I'll go back over it with the distilled H2O. I'll probably let the water sit on here for just a minute or two, just to kind of break things down, especially the soapy water. You'll notice I've got the towel laid at the bottom. I've got it all the way up to the back plate, so it should catch any water that falls down on the inside. The towel will get pretty wet, so it's good to have multiple towels on hand. This one might do it. It's a nice old beach towel, so we'll see. If we have to change towels out, we will. So let's go ahead with our distilled H2O and just start spraying the mirror. You're going to notice I'm going to get it really, really wet. I want the water to beat up and run down. I don't have too much of an issue with worrying about it drying in place because it's cool. Although this lamp is heating it up in here, but it's cool enough that it's not much of an issue. And it's got to be nighttime on me quickly, so we're all right. But you can see I want the water to run down, and really try to use some water pressure to break up what might be on the mirror. Let things sit. I keep far enough back from the mirror so I'm not at any risk of touching it with the nozzle of the spray gun, and use lots of water. It's cheap. I've never tried changing the spray gun to a jet. Might help with some more stubborn stuff. I don't think I've ever really had a need for it though. So that's a good initial prepping of the mirror. Now I'm going to pull out the distilled H2O and soap. By the way, I just use as much soap as I think of. I mean, you don't want to be clearing soap off your mirror forever, but you know, you want to get it nice and sudsy so it breaks things down too. So you can see the quilt soap suds it up nicely, but it also tends to run off the mirror nicely, so it actually seems to be a good product to use. Stubborn stuff right there. Again, plenty of soap. Get the entire mirror surface. Try to use a little water pressure to break things up. Let that run down for a minute or two, and we'll get ready with our just plain old water. Oops. Spray. Let that sit for just a moment. You can see the towel's getting pretty wet. It's real wet actually, but that's okay. I'll leave that in for this round. I might shut things off and replace the towel here in just a minute. Alright, so that soap sat on there for a while. Let's go ahead and give it a rinse cycle. Plenty of water. Use lots and lots of water. You want to get all that soap off of there. No soap left behind on the mirror. for that rinse. I'll check after I'm done cleaning the mirror. I'll check the collimation just to double check to make sure I didn't move anything on the trusses or the mirror itself. And actually, probably will need to adjust it because we will touch the mirror surface lightly. So we'll probably have to adjust the collimation a little bit. So we've done one rinse, or wash and rinse, and here's a second wash step. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut things off so I don't bore you with washing and rinsing a few times, but you get the idea. Lots of soap, lots of suds, lots of water to rinse it, towels to keep things dry, and you should be good. I'll be back when it's time to start drying this. Okay, I have done a couple more rinse and wash cycles, and I've got my, put a new towel up here. It got pretty wet with the old one, even though this one's the same color. Now I've got my sea sponges. Again, these are natural sea sponges. I guess they grow them somewhere in a sea sponge farm. Found them online. All right. And you can see all I'm doing is dabbing. It's picking up, this is the first time I've tried it, so I'm not sure how well it was going to work. It's picking up a lot of the moisture. I'm not sure it's doing as well as I might like. And again, you don't want to put a lot of pressure on the mirror surface. Dab. And I might move to back to the Chem wipes. This is picking up some of the water. You know, maybe I'll use another sponge and see if it starts getting more of it. This might have picked up as much as it's going to pick up. I'll use a bigger one and see what happens. Well, anyway, you can get the idea of just dabbing. You don't want to wipe. You don't want to do anything that might move across the mirror surface. Just let the pressure of whatever you're using dry this. Now, not a great fan of this, I don't think. So I think I'm going to go back to the Chem wipes. So I'm going to pause the video. I'll wipe it down a little bit or dry it off a little bit through dabbing with the Chem wipes, and we'll come back and you can get an idea of the finished product. Okay, I'm back with the Chem wipes, and again I'm just going to dab the surface dry. The Chem wipes again are the medical grade wipes. Buy a ton of them because you don't want to reuse any. So once you've dabbed with a few, just get rid of them. No sense ruining a mirror, an expensive mirror, because you picked up some kind of particle in a Chem wipe that costs a penny, and you ruin a very expensive mirror. So continue to just dab the mirror dry. I'll keep doing this and we'll come back because this probably isn't the most exciting thing to be watching on video. So I'll get the mirror all dried off. You can see what we got. I'll bring the flashlight up. We'll get some brighter light on it here, but it's drying up nicely. Okay, we'll be back in a few moments. Okay, we're back with a nice, clean, dry mirror. I've got a flashlight on here. I think you can see the dramatic difference that that we made in the quality of the mirror. There's a few spots that I might go put some isopropyl rubbing alcohol on a towel and just blot a little bit, just try to clean up a few little spots. There's a spot right there that actually I think isn't a spot at all. I think that's a mark from the manufacturing process, or not sure, because that's actually been there for ever, and I did try to clean it off before. So there's not nothing big left on the mirror. This flashlight's not the brightest flashlight, but I'll get a pretty good idea of how clean the mirror got. I think hopefully this camera's picking it up. And again, I'll just spot clean a few areas maybe with the Optical Wonder, and we'll be done with it. And then I'll clean the secondary mirror pretty much the same way. I'll go in also with some Chem wipes and just wipe down the shroud a little bit. There's some water, a little water up in here. Just dry it off a little bit. Get it as dry as possible. I'll let it sit. There's probably a little bit of water back behind here. So we'll just let it sit and dry with the air. By the way, when you're done, you should have a nice big pile of Chem wipes left on the floor. So I'm not quite done yet, so I'm sure my pile will get larger. But that's generally what it takes to clean the primary mirror on a 24-inch Ritchey-Chretien. And pretty much the same steps if you were going to try to clean a smaller mirror and just take it out of the optical tube. I would actually put it in a bath of water and then a bath of the quilt soap. Let the water run over the surface just by tilting and lifting the mirror up and down in the bath, and then dry it by dabbing, and you should have a nice clean mirror at the end of it. One other comment that I'll make: if you do light flats for your images, make sure you've taken all the light flats that you need for any images that you have outstanding, because once you touch the optics, you've pretty much ruined any data that you might have in the past that needs light flats, because the dust motes will be gone and they won't match up with your data that you've taken. So be sure you clear out your light flats if you've got some for your data that need to be done. Just something I've learned from experience. Okay, so hopefully this has been helpful for you, and next up I'll show you the little bath solutions we make for the cleaning the filters, and give you an idea of what's involved there. It's pretty quick and painless. Pretty much the same thing. You want to protect the optics at all costs. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you at Light Buckets with our crystal clear optics on our 24RC and our other instruments that we have available here from Rodeo, New Mexico. Good night.